Robert shifted in his metal chair, trying to ignore the pain crawling down his leg. The meeting was almost over. He had spent the last hour sitting in the back of the room, coffee in hand, doing what he always did, listening but never speaking. He had been coming to Alcoholics Anonymous for several weeks now, 3 meetings a week. At first, just getting through the doors had felt like a victory. Roland's visits had pushed him there, just as they had pushed him to help other people, enough to force Robert to admit what he had been trying not to say out loud. He had a drinking problem, but now that he was actually attending the meetings, something still felt off. Everyone who got up to speak had a story. A father who drank and passed it on to his son, a soldier broken by war, a woman who drank to survive an abusive husband, a man who started in college and lost everything. Robert listened to all of it and waited for someone to sound like him, someone who knew what it was like to lose a wife and child in an instant, someone who could tell him how to live after that. But no one did. And the longer he sat there, the more he felt like he did not belong. When the moderator took the floor again, he looked straight at Robert and asked if he wanted to share. All eyes turned. Robert froze. His palms went damp. His heart started pounding. He could barely get the word out. No, not tonight. The moderator accepted it easily and moved on, but Robert still felt like every eye in the room had been on him too long. The second the meeting ended, he grabbed his jacket and made for the door. He did not want to linger, did not want to talk, did not want anyone stopping him in the hallway and trying to pull something out of him he was not ready to say. He just wanted out. He moved fast through the hallway, glanced back once, then turned forward, and slammed directly into an opening door. Pain burst through his nose. When he looked up, he found Mandy standing there, horrified, apologizing, already reaching to check the damage. Robert tried to brush it off, but Mandy slipped into the same firm medical tone Rebecca used to use with stubborn patients, and eventually with him too. So he relented. She took his face in her hands and checked his nose. And for one dangerous second, Robert looked into her eyes and felt something twist inside him. They were kind, bright, familiar in a way that hit too close to home, too much like Rebecca's. The second Mandy finished, Robert pulled back hard, shaken by the feeling that he had somehow betrayed his wife's memory just by letting another woman touch him. Mandy, not knowing any of that, tried to smooth it over by offering to buy him coffee. Robert panicked, lied about having plans, and rushed out before she could say anything else. By Monday night, Robert was still thinking about it. Not just the door, not just Mandy, the guilt. He had spent the whole weekend tormenting himself over the idea that even noticing another woman, even allowing himself to feel comfort in someone else's touch, meant betraying Rebecca. Then headlights swept across his living room and caught the framed photo of his family. That was enough to get him moving. He went back to the community center to another AA meeting, hoping maybe it would shake something loose. But the meeting went just like the others. Sad stories, familiar pain, still nothing that felt like his. When it ended, he made his way out carefully this time, staying well clear of the hallway doors, and outside, Mandy was waiting again. She greeted him, like seeing him again was the most natural thing in the world. Robert tried to stay guarded, tried not to look at her too long. Still, Mandy pushed through his defenses with that same bright, easy energy. She joked about the door, teased him, tried again to get him to go for coffee. Robert turned her down again, this time with less edge, but just as much distance. He could feel himself being rude, could feel that she was trying. But every time he got close to accepting even a simple cup of coffee, that same feeling came back. Too soon, too wrong, too much like letting go of Rebecca. So he left again, and this time he actually felt bad about it. Over the next 2 weeks, Robert kept going to AA, but he stopped seeing Mandy. Then one night after a meeting, he spotted her in the hallway and called her name. When she turned, the left side of her face was black and blue. Mandy tried to explain it away as part of the job. A violent addict, occupational hazard. Robert did not buy it for a second. He had seen bruises like that before, on Rebecca, back when they first met, and she was still trapped with the man who used to hurt her. Mandy's energy was different too. Lower, dimmed, like she was trying very hard to pretend she was fine. Robert apologized for how he had acted with her before, and for a moment she brightened. Then she looked past him, and all the light went out of her face. A man in a gray jacket was waiting by the door. He grabbed her wrist and forced her outside. Robert rushed after them, but by the time he got into the parking lot, they were already driving away. Robert stood there furious with himself. He had seen the bruises, seen the signs, and still missed what was really happening until it was too late. Then, turning back toward his truck, he stopped cold. Rebecca was standing there. Not Roland this time. Rebecca. Her name barely escaped his lips as her form materialized. Here she was standing in front of him. Robert stumbled backpedaling, unable to believe what he was seeing. Rebecca, sweetie, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. There is so much I need to say. Robert stammered, his gaze shifting between his wife and the fading taillights of the car Mandy had just been forced into. Guilt, sadness, and sorrow laced his voice as he tripped over his own words. Never. Rebecca placed a finger over Robert's lips. He instantly melted into silence. She used to do the same thing every time Robert would go on about something, or to end a silly argument. It was something they both did to each other. A smile spread across his wife's lips as a tear slid down Robert's face, feeling her touch once more. She caressed his cheek. She wasn't wearing the face of judgment. She was happy. Rebecca did not come to accuse him. She came to free him of his pain.
Robert, my dear love,
Rebecca said. Her voice sounded just as sweet as he remembered. Robert dropped his head. Rebecca placed a hand beneath his chin and gently lifted it. Their eyes met.
I will always love you, my sweet. Never once, in all our years together, did I doubt that you loved me and our son. But our time has come to an end. We'll wait for you in the beyond. Until then, you still have more to do in this life. You have to go on for Roland and me. You must not carry this guilt anymore. You gave us everything. You do not betray our memory by going on. You honor us by living. And you should not walk this earth alone.
She turned, her gaze lingering in the direction Mandy had gone.
We will always love you, my sweet. Honor our memory by letting yourself live. You still have so much more to offer this world. Now go and do that.
With those final words, Rebecca faded away, her smile never leaving her face. As Rebecca faded away, Robert knew what he'd known deep down for weeks now. Mandy needed help, and he was going to be that help. A few days later, Robert sat in his truck outside the firehouse waiting for Mandy. He had spent those days thinking about Rebecca, about Roland, and about what they had both been trying to tell him, that he still had a purpose, that helping people was not random, that maybe this was what he was meant for. Then the firehouse door opened and Mandy came out. Robert got out of the truck and approached her carefully, trying not to come off like a stalker, even though he had definitely tracked down where she worked and when she got off shift. He apologized for scaring her. She teased him about ambushing her outside work. He teased her back about somehow always appearing at places he happened to be. And for the first time, the tension between them felt lighter, easier, almost playful. Robert finally asked her to coffee. Mandy pretended to say no just long enough to watch him panic, then laughed and agreed. They crossed the street to a coffee shop, ordered drinks, and sat down together. For the first time, Robert found that he could look into her eyes without seeing Rebecca. That weight was gone now. Not because he had stopped loving his wife, but because somehow he had finally accepted that moving forward was not the same thing as betraying the dead. They talked, and slowly the truth came out. Robert admitted he had been going to AA, though he did not feel like he belonged there. Mandy told him she understood. She had been sober for 2 years herself. That surprised him. Then she said the thing he had been waiting to hear. Sometimes drinking was not really the problem. Sometimes it was grief. Mandy told him she had miscarried after one of her boyfriend's beatings. After that, she started drinking heavily. Their relationship got worse. He kept hurting her. Eventually, she called the police and he went to jail. But now he was out, and he had started coming back around. That was where the bruises were coming from. That was the man Robert had seen dragging her away. Mandy admitted she had a restraining order, but she was too scared to keep calling the police because he had threatened to kill her if she did. Robert listened, furious but controlled. He had seen this before. He told her the truth about Rebecca, that when they first met, she had been in an abusive relationship too. And yes, Robert had handled that man in his own way. Mandy asked if it had worked. Robert said yes. Men like that were bullies. Once someone truly stood up to them, they often folded. But this time, there was an even cleaner option. Mandy already had the law on her side. They just needed proof. Robert asked Mandy if the man who grabbed her at the community center knew there was a restraining order. He did. That meant the moment in the parking lot might already be enough to violate it, and community centers had cameras. That was the opening. So Robert pulled out his phone and called Detective Reese, the same man he had helped before. He told Reese he needed a favor, then he got Mandy moving. They were going to the station. They were going to stop this cycle. Mandy smiled at him through everything she had just confessed and accused him again of having a hero complex. Robert shook his head. No, this was not about wanting to be a hero. This was about helping because someone needed it. And deep down, he knew that was what Rebecca and Roland had both been trying to show him all along. As Robert and Mandy left together, he caught Rebecca in the rearview mirror smiling from the back seat. Not sad, not accusing, proud. And for the first time, Robert understood that helping people was not just something he kept stumbling into. It was purpose, a reason to keep going, a way to right old wrongs, not by fixing the past because that was impossible, but by protecting other people in the present. People needed him. And maybe finally, Robert was starting to believe that too.